Hey guys, it's Alex with Paragon Performance. Today we're doing a Halltech Hornet intake install on a C8 convertible. There are a few differences as far as the install goes. I want to go over that with you guys. Let's get to it. All right guys, so one of the things that's going to be different with the convertible, obviously you have the convertible top and we do need to put this into service mode. If you're unsure how to do that, refer to your owner's manual. It will walk you through how to put your vehicle in service mode. You will have to work from service mode back and forth between there and the actual trunk itself. They both can't be open at the same time. So we're going to start here within service mode. You need to remove this engine cover that covers obviously the engine. There's going to be a bunch of T15 Torx all the way around the outside. Go ahead and remove those. Once you have those removed, you will need to just pick up on it, and you will actually need to slide these ears between in this gap here. Careful not to scratch your paint. And then lift the front up, and then you can come back up and out. So now we have that cover removed. We need to actually move the coolant reservoir. That's simple to do. You don't need to worry about disconnecting or losing any coolant. Just make sure the car is cooled down so none of the components are hot. We will remove a 10mm bolt that's right next to the radiator cap here. Remove that bolt, and then you will need to actually take the coolant reservoir, pull it towards the front of the car on this side. You may have to wiggle it a little bit because it sets into a rubber grommet. And then once that is out and free, you can kind of pick up on it, and you will need to remove the coolant reservoir out of this hole here. And then you just slide it towards the passenger side, and then you will want to take this and just rotate it around. And set it on top of your intake manifold here. These hoses attached to it are on quick connect fittings, so they will allow you to pivot. And as long as it's positioned here in the center of the intake manifold, when you go back and forth between the engine service mode versus access to the trunk, this actually clears everything so you don't have to worry about hitting it or moving it back and forth. And then I like to put that bolt back in there so we don't lose it. Now I'm going to close the lid from service mode. We're going to go to the trunk, show you the differences as far as what you need to do differently on a convertible install. All right, as you can see, the convertible trunk's a little bit different. Same general idea for the most part of getting the carpet and stuff out, removing the engine cover. However, for the Halltech intake box, because of the dimensional size of the box, this rivet actually interferes with the box. So you do need to remove it. To do that, you're going to take a 1/2-inch drill bit. You're going to drill on the front side of this. It'll basically just kind of take off this front flange of this riv nut, and then you will be able to pull it out the back. I do it that way because if you were to ever go back, you'd be able to apply a little bit of structural adhesive, insert it back in from the back, and you would be able to reuse that once you put a stock air box back in it. Let's get this drilled out. And just pry that thing out of the back. And then you can save that, be able to glue that back in later if you decide to go back to the stock air box. Now that we've got this all drilled out, it's probably a good idea to grab yourself a shop vac, vacuum up all the debris from drilling this out. I'm going to do that, and then we'll get to sliding the box in. We're going to install the air box. You will need to turn it sideways and carefully set it down through your trunk hole here. Just kind of put it in there upside down. And then we will go into the hole and kind of slide it back out towards the driver's side. And then we need to attach the hose for the transmission vent. And then, as you can see, we have the filter and the cover off on this as well. You can remove the filter once it's installed. These top two bolts are a little bit more difficult to get to. I'll show you kind of how we got to do that to get those in and out. But because of it being convertible, it's a little more difficult to go between the trunk and the top. So I want to leave the filter and the cover off for the installation, because you can actually reach gently down inside the mouth hole here and be able to push the coupler from the throttle body to the intake down, and that'll help you get it lined up. Just be gentle around the sensor. Try not to touch it with your fingers, as the oils can throw off readings. Let's get it slid in here. While sliding it in, you'll want to make sure that we're paying attention to our transmission vent, and that we get that rotated around accordingly, and making sure that the hose makes it underneath the inlet of the airbox. Also, while doing this, it helps to have it kind of pushed up as far as you can get it. And then once you get to a certain point, it kind of stops. You'll need to push it to the passenger side, and then it'll let you push in farther. And then once we're close to being vertical, then you can slide the box back over and then work on getting the coupler attached to the back of the airbox. All right, and like that, have that installed. To get to these screws here on the top, you will kind of have to push down firmly on this cover while you're doing that. You may need to install something from the side and kind of push down a little bit, but you can actually get these screws reinstalled once the box is in, and that'll make it so you can service it without removing the airbox. And you will want to do this process of getting this on before you bolt any of the bolts back down for the airbox, just so that gives you the ability to maneuver the airbox around to get those screws back in on the top. You'll be able to slide this up between the two panels and down and in. I like to start a couple of the screws here on the sides just to kind of position it for us. All right, so using a small pry tool, you can actually snake kind of above the box and you'll be able to push down on the box, and that will make it so you can get these top screws here started. There you guys have it. That's the major differences of installing the Halltech intake in a C8 convertible. The installation instructions pretty much follow along as the same as the coupe, other than the having to go back and forth between the trunk and the engine compartment. Once you've got everything installed, don't forget to put your coolant reservoir back, install your engine access panel, and you'll be good to go. As always, like, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you guys next time.